Good morning, everybody. It's Thursday morning. It's lovely and sunny outside. It's great to be here, and thank you so much for joining us for our Bible talk for today. Beg your pardon, frog in the throat. Hope you are well and cheerful. As I say, good to see you today. And don't forget, by the way, to push the share button underneath this. Share these messages with your friends so other people can enjoy them too. We are looking our way through the letter to the Hebrews, this unusual book, unusual in the sense that we don't know who wrote it, we don't know who it was written to, we don't know when, and we don't know where, but we know that it's blooming good stuff, and I don't know about you, I'm having a fantastic time going through it. There's so much really, really powerful stuff here. But, without further ado, I shall pick it up this morning. It's Hebrews, and it's chapter 10. I'm going to start reading at verses 19. Short reading this morning, just Hebrews 10, 19 to 25. Here goes. Therefore, my friends, since we have confidence to enter the sanctuary by the blood of Jesus, by the new and living way that he opened for us through the curtain, that is, through his flesh, and since we have a great high priest over the house of God, let us approach with a true heart in full assurance of faith, with our hearts sprinkled clean from an evil conscience, and our bodies washed with pure water. Let us hold fast to the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who has promised is faithful. And let us consider how to provoke one another to love and good deeds, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day approaching. This is the word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. Well, as you'll know from the last few days, this section of Hebrews, the guy who's been writing has been talking about as always, how fantastic Jesus is, and how much better his sacrifice was on the cross than what the old Jewish Old Testament priests used to do. That's all gone with them, and he is now, the sacrifice of Jesus on the cross has dealt with our sins for us. And in a sense, the last couple of days, that's what he's been talking about. Just what a fantastic, that it doesn't have to be repeated, that it's the living sacrifice, that it was once for all, and so on. And he's been talking about how brilliant it is. This morning's few verses are really kind of, okay, what do we do about it? So we've heard how good it is the last few days. This morning's reading is about what we're going to do about it, which the key word is the word therefore. It begins with therefore. In other words, because of what's happened, therefore this proceeds from here. And this morning's reading, he talks about four things really that it means for us. First, he says that we can approach God. We have a new and living way into the presence of God. That's really, really important. That Jesus is new. It's a new thing that Jesus has done, and it's living, it's in Jesus, and we can boldly approach God. And I think this is really important that we get this. We do, in a sense that in the past, like I say, the old sacrificial system was kind of rare, and it was kind of aloof. It was away. It was kind of, anyway. It wasn't fully there. It wasn't the full business. So what he's saying is, because Jesus has done for us, prepared for us a new and living way, we can approach with boldness. And I think there's something really, really fantastic in here, and something which is brilliant about the Christian faith, which is basically this, and I'm so relieved that it doesn't depend on me. It's not on the basis of what I have done or what I have achieved. It's all about enjoying what Jesus has achieved for me. I don't know about you, but I know what I'm like, and I know my temptations and please don't tell the bishop, my temptations and frustrations. I know my thought processes are not what they might be, and everything else. I know what a sinful man I am, and I know that if my salvation, if my way to God depended on what I did about it, then in a sense I'd be in serious trouble. But the great thing about this is that the new and living way has been won for us. All we have to do, if you like, is seize it and enjoy it and live it. So, we can approach boldly, not because of any good thing that we've done, but because Jesus has won for us a new and living way. And the great thing is it doesn't depend on us, it depends on him. And I'm so relieved. I think that is absolutely fantastic. That's the first thing. The second thing about this is that he tells us in the way which is a bit like a recurring theme, like a message through a stick of the rock, all the way through the book of Hebrews. He says we can encourage us to keep the faith, what he calls holding fast to our confession. Why can we do that? Because Jesus has been and is faithful to us, and because he is faithful to us, we can be faithful to him. So the first thing he says is, in a sense, Jesus has won for us a new living way into God's presence. So because of that, and because it doesn't depend on us, we can be bold. The second thing he's saying is that because Jesus has been faithful to us, he says, hold fast to your confession. As I keep saying, keep the faith, because he has been and is faithful to us. Therefore, we can be encouraged and we can be faithful to him too. That's the second thing. The third thing he says, in view of this, he says, provoke one another to good deeds. And it's quite, I like this really. The word provoke, it's quite a strong word. Like you provoke someone to do something. It's a strong word. The only other time in the New Testament that the word is used is when Paul and Barnabas have a big bust up in the book of Acts. That's the only other time that the word provoke is used in quite this way. And it's quite a strong word. And he talks here about provoking one another to love and good deeds. There was encouraging one another, but a bit more than that, kind of prodding each other, provoking each other to do it. And in view of what Jesus has done for us, we should provoke one another to good deeds. Should encourage, but it's a bit more than encourage. We should actually provoke each other to do good deeds as well. So because of what Jesus has done for us, because of his great sacrifice, and because we've got a new living way into his presence, and because he's faithful, we should provoke one another to good deeds. Which brings us to the final point. He says, do not neglect to meet up with one another, as is the practice of some. In other words, he's saying, keep meeting up. It's funny, isn't it? People often say you don't have to go to church to be a Christian. And I suppose, technically speaking, you don't. But really and truly, it's a good thing to do, because we kind of need each other. And yes, of course, the church will drive you mad sometimes. Of course, people at the church are going to upset you from time to time. And the church can be horrendously frustrating at times. Of course it can. Absolutely it can. And I'm not going to dispute that. But actually, we need each other. I keep saying one of the greatest gifts God's given to us, actually, is each other. We kind of need each other. And although I might not need you today, you might need me. And I might need you today, but I might need you next time. We actually need each other. And dare I say, even when the people that wind us up the most, I think there are often opportunities when we meet what you might call difficult people. There can also be opportunities to learn about ourselves. I often find if someone is winding me up, annoying me, it says much more about me than it does about them, which is actually a growth point. So we do need each other. There are no such things as Rambos for Jesus. We actually need each other. And I think one of the things that lockdown has done for us in the last couple of years is it kind of reminds us just how much we need church, actually. There is something very special about worshipping in a group of people, in a larger group of people, joining in the singing and enjoying the atmosphere and the fellowship in a larger group. Getting together in a small group, in like life groups and that sort of stuff, to actually get together to share personally things that are important to us and guide one another personally on our Christian faith. It's just basically really important that we meet. That's why church is important. And I would encourage us, if we're not already, to be part of a church, part of a good church. It's such an important thing to do, because actually we need each other. And as I say, if we don't, we're missing out on one of the greatest gifts God's given us, which is each other. So, in this reading this morning, the writer has just been talking about what a fantastic sacrifice Jesus has done, what a great thing he's done for us. And he encourages us, this morning is kind of, what do we do about it? Jesus has done this great deed for us, this great sacrifice. So what should we do about it? Therefore, he says, firstly, we can approach God boldly, not because of what we've done, but because of what he has done for us. Secondly, he says, keep the faith. We can hold fast to our confession because he's faithful to us, so we can be faithful to him. Thirdly, we should provoke each other to love and good deeds. It's quite a strong word. We should really actively provoke each other to love and good deeds. We should actually encourage and actually provoke each other, which is a bit stronger than that. And finally, he says, don't stop meeting together. Meet up, meet together with other Christians, be together in the faith, because actually we need each other. And because we might not need each other today, but we might be needed by somebody else today. And if we don't need someone today, we might need them tomorrow. Actually, we need the church. We need the Christians around us, and we need to be together. And this morning's in Hebrews reminds us why. Hope that makes sense. God bless you. Have a lovely day, and more on this lovely chat.